If you've got a Jeep Wrangler JL with the factory halogen headlight, you're watching this video because you want to get that thing changed out. And there are several bracket options on the market today to do exactly that. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to install a couple of them, what the pros and cons are, and more importantly, what you should pick to get the best headlight available in your Jeep. So let's get started. We got our Jeep pulled in the shop now, and I'm going to show you guys how to remove the grill so that we can get at these headlights. The first step is taking a pry tool and removing the plastic clips along the top of it here. Try not to accidentally fling these off into the engine bay. I've done it a couple times already. Happens to the best of us. Now we can go ahead and pull this grill off, and it really is as simple as that. Go ahead and just pull it toward you here. Like that. Some metal clips along the bottom. They don't put up much of a fight. Go ahead and set this thing off to the side. And as you can see, I've already been in here. I've got a Morimoto headlight installed with an aftermarket bracket, but don't worry about that yet. I'm showing you guys the stock stuff. To remove the stock headlight, you've got three 10mm bolts. You've got one in the upper right here, one in the upper left, and then one in the lower right here. With an extension, they're no problem. Press down on this little tab here and remove the factory wire harness, and now you can take this 7-inch round headlight and set it off to the side. So we've got our stock headlight out now, and if you look in front of me, you're going to see two different headlights in two different brackets, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one and let you decide which way you want to go when you're upgrading your Jeep. Maybe you have the factory LED headlight model, maybe you've got the halogen model like we do. No matter what you got, this video is going to help you out. This is a bracket that you're going to see on eBay and Amazon and just about everywhere online. And surprisingly, it's actually not terrible. This is a metal-based bracket. It's got spring-loaded adjustment screws here, and it actually works just fine for getting a headlight into your Jeep. The only downside to this thing is it leaves a gapper on the edge. And I'm guessing you didn't just spend between 40 and 60 grand on a Jeep Wrangler to introduce gaps around the edge of your grill, the edge of your headlight. You don't want that. The Morimoto 7-inch round adapter for the Jeep JL solves that issue. As you can see, we've got a nice trim ring along this thing here. This is the Morimoto Super 7, and it fits in perfectly. You can put the JW speaker headlights in here, you can do the KC Highlights Pro Gravity headlights in here. Whatever you want, you can fit it in this bucket. And if you're not sure what you want, we just did a massive 7-inch round headlight shootout video that you need to see. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple clips right now. Now, if you haven't seen that video yet, you need to click that immediately after this one, because we tested over 30 different headlights. We have probably well over 100 man hours into testing each of these things, powering them up, firing them against the wall in our studio, and testing them real world to see what's the brightest, what's the best value for the money, and what works the best in your Jeep. So, one big thing to consider when you're choosing the bracket for your Jeep is adjustability. The last thing you want to do is just toss some of these headlights in there and have the adjustment cranked way off to the left and not be able to fix it. If you've got a halogen equipped Jeep, you probably wouldn't even notice because it doesn't have the best cutoff line from the factory, but when you get into the headlights like the JW speaker here that's got a very distinct laser cutoff line, perfect flat line across from left to right, if you can't adjust that properly, you're going to hate what you see on the road. Now, both of these brackets are adjustable, however they handle it a little bit differently. This one requires you to pop the grill off a little bit. You can pull the clips, ease it toward you, reach in there with an Allen key, and turn these little screws here, and you can adjust it up and down, left to right, and it gets the job done. The Morimoto adapter has adjustment screws on the back of the bucket like you would see in a factory application, where you can reach a Phillips screwdriver down there without taking anything apart on the vehicle, make your adjustments while facing it toward a wall, get this thing dialed in without tearing it apart. If you live somewhere where it's 70 degrees most of the time and there's no rain, it's not a big deal if you got to take the Jeep apart a little bit, but we're in northern Minnesota. Last week it was like 50 below zero. The last thing I want to do is be pulling this grill apart, aiming it at my garage door, and adjusting it. Now let's talk about price. This kit, right from our website, right from the Retrofit Sources website, they also carry Morimoto, it's about 200 bucks. This kit can be found for 120. $80 difference. This one's easier to adjust. This one has the trim ring. It looks more finished in your Jeep with less gaps. This is what I'd do. If you're looking for the cheapest option, you could do this, but like I said, big differences. There's one final difference between these two that might help your buying decision. This adapter is made out of metal. Normally I like that. It's sturdier, feels good, doesn't feel like it's gonna vibrate loose or anything like that. But one thing that I don't like about it is we had this in our Jeep for about a week and a half, and I'm already starting to see rust here where these adjustment screws are, where they've taken the powder coat off. And you can't exactly get a brush in here and clean this at the car wash. The last thing I'd want to see happen is have this thing turn rust colored and be able to see that from my grill from the front of the Jeep. The last thing I want, brand new vehicle, I don't want it rusting out already. ABS plastic doesn't rust. So as long as your headlight stays in good shape, you're not gonna have any trouble. So off the bat, there's an $80 price difference between these two options. And this one's got some pros that kind of justify that price, but the biggest reason you should go with this is this adapter here. I ordered these in, and this metal bracket didn't come with a wiring adapter. So I got this thing all assembled, I went to put it in the Jeep, and I actually had to run back to our warehouse, take the Morimoto adapter kit, open it up, and take these out of the box to use with this bracket. Now I'm sure somebody out there sells the bracket and the wiring included. It's probably more money, you know? Probably doesn't look like this. This is nice and wire loom wrapped. It's not gonna give you any trouble, and I'll tell you right now, it plugs in really nice for an adapter harness. So I've really given you guys the pros and cons in as much of a fact-based way as possible, mixed with a little bit of an opinion. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna install this on one side, I'm gonna install the metal bracket headlight on the other side, and I'm gonna let you decide what you wanna do in your Jeep. I hope this video helps you guys figure out exactly what bracket you want for your Jeep JL. And hey, when you get it all done and you get whatever LED headlight in this thing that you actually want, and it still isn't quite as bright as you'd like, we've got a Diode Dynamics light bar in the front of this thing. We got a video coming out on how to install that and what it looks like. That's actually why we're on the lake right now. We're gonna let it get dark. We're gonna turn it on, get some footage, and show you guys what it can do. So if you need anything for your Jeep Wrangler JL, visit headlightrevolution.com. We got you completely covered from the front to the rear. Thanks for watching.